All right, you guys, we're getting really close to the end. We're on chapter 11, and there's only 13 chapters. Oh, man. All right, here we go. Chapter 11. Wait a minute, said Sam. Let's figure this out. Sam started pacing back and forth, talking to himself. Nat Lee is trapped behind the rock. If 5 people can move the rock 1 inch, how many people would it take to move the rock 24 inches? Sam grabbed a stick and scribbled in the sand. 5 people for every inch times 24 inches equals 120 people. So let's do it, said Fred. There are only 2 small problems, said Sam. 1, we don't have 120 people. And 2, even if we did, we couldn't fit 120 people on one side of the rock. We need a more simple solution. The word simple rang a bell in my head. What about your pal Archimedes? I said. He won't be around for another 39,000 years or so, said Sam. No, I mean about that lever thing you were talking about at math homework. Joe, you're a genius, yelled Sam. Give us a fulcrum, a long enough lever, and a place to stand, and the Time Warp Trio will move the world, or at least a very large rock. Fred grabbed a sturdy-looking branch. I rolled a stone near one side of the boulder. Let me go back and see if I can show you guys, if you remember what they were talking about. Okay. I should have marked it before I started reading. What page are we on? 67. Do you guys remember me showing you this? And they were figuring out, it's like a lever, kind of. And that's the fulcrum. Do you guys have an idea what they're going to do? Okay. Our Stone Age audience watched us closely. We jammed the stick under the boulder and over the smaller rock. Do you see what they did? So they jammed the stick under the rock, and then they put a rock here to make it like a lever. Smart, huh? The 3 of us pulled down on our lever. The boulder rocked and then slowly rolled up. The stick creaked, bent, and snapped. We landed in a heap, holding half our lever. Duh looked carefully at the broken stick. He walked off into the woods and came back carrying a log 10 feet long and twice as thick as our original lever. Now you're thinking, said Sam. Duh wedged the lever under the boulder just like he'd seen us do. He pulled down. The boulder rocked. We grabbed the lever and pulled down. The boulder rolled up. Lindsay, Josephine, and Ma pulled the lever down. The boulder rose up, teetered, and suddenly rolled off to one side, crashing down the hill. Nat Lee raced out of the cave and danced around, hugging everyone in sight. Ma, Lindsay, Josephine, Fred, Sam, me, and even Duh. I couldn't tell for sure through the wild beard, but I think Duh's face turned an embarrassed red. Ma made hand motions and gave orders to her clan. All the women nodded and smiled. Duh and his men nodded and smiled. We had absolutely no idea what was going on, but we nodded and smiled. That night, we had the greatest party ever thrown in the Stone Ages. The women showed Duh's men how to build huge roaring bonfires. Ma's clan brought out a feast of fruit, nuts, flatbread stews, and a dark fizzy drink. Caveman Coca-Cola, said Fred. He took one of the fresher-looking pieces of meat from one of the men and held it over the fire on a stick. Boog? Asked Duh. No. Cooked boog, answered Fred. Burger? Booger. No, burger. Fred folded a piece of bread around the cooked meat and handed it to Duh. Duh took a bite and smiled. Burger. Sam finished fitting the last of our 4 circular pieces of wood onto the ends of 2 sticks he had tied to a small log. Oh, I see what you're saying. He's making wheels, basically. These are wheels, said Sam. These are wheels. We need these on our skateboard so we can do a 360. 360? Said Lindsay. That's right, said Sam. That stands for 360 degrees and a circle. But I think we'll have to invent numbers and circles before I explain all that to you. For now, we will just stick to skateboards. 360, said Josephine. I found my straw and played a kazoo kind of version of Three Blind Mice. Music, I said. Natalie clapped and then honked her own tune on the straw. Someone started drumming. People started dancing around the fire. Then Duh acted out the rescue. Natalie played herself crouching on one side of the fire, looking afraid. 3 guys pretended they were the rock. Ma tried to push them. Fred and Ma tried to push them. We all tried to push them, and they didn't budge. The drum beat faster. Sam and Duh pretended to wedge a stick under a rock of the guys. Duh and Sam jumped, and the drum stopped. The 3 guys rolled off into the darkness, and Natalie jumped triumphantly into the firelight. The drum started up again. Everyone laughed and danced, and then we did the whole thing over again and again and again and again, until the bonfires dimmed low and the full moon began to sink into the lightning sky. Hamburgers, music, and parties. Not a bad start on civilization, said Fred. Sam doodled A, B, C, and 1, 2, 3 in the sand. There might be hope for the species after all. Tomorrow we'll start numbers and letters. Who knows? Maybe by 39,999 BC we may be able to put together the book. I still can't believe there are no paintings in the cave, I said. They took us everywhere and we see everything, said Fred. It must be in another cave. Sam traced 3 stick figures. Natalie looked at Sam's scribbles and then suddenly jumped up and ran off. What just happened? Asked Sam. No, said Fred. I think, Fred laughed. Natalie came back, dragging Ma by the arm. Ma took one look, said something to her clan, and they were instantly surrounded by all the women, half leading, half pushing us into the cave. I didn't mean it, said Fred. Somebody lit the torches. We were swept through the main cave and back to the entrance of the small cave with the bars. Not again, said Fred. Ma took a torch and motioned for us to follow. We looked at the prehistoric crowd and the weird torch lighting behind us. Duh held up one hand. Natalie waved her straw. 360, said Josephine. Lindsay cupped her hands to her mouth like a megaphone and called, Joe, Sam, Fred, okay. It doesn't look like we have much choice, I said. And we followed Ma into the dark cave. We're at the end of the chapter.